Single dad saved a female CEO's life, then vanished without a name. No one noticed the man standing quietly at the edge of the bridge that bright spring morning until the black luxury SUV crashed through the guardrail. The vehicle hung for a terrifying second before tipping toward the river below. People screamed. Some reached for their phones. Others froze in fear. But one exhausted single father, dressed in faded work clothes and carrying nothing more than an old backpack, ran without thinking about his own life. Within seconds, he threw himself into the icy water, fought the powerful current, and pulled an unconscious woman from the sinking vehicle. Before the ambulances arrived, before the cameras found him, before anyone even asked his name, he disappeared into the crowd like he had never existed at all. What nobody knew was that the woman he had saved was one of the most powerful CEOs in the country, and the mysterious stranger who vanished carried a heartbreaking story of his own. Before we continue, if you believe kindness deserves a second chance in this world, please like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel Heart of Kindness. Your support helps us bring more emotional stories that remind us humanity still exists. The man was named Elias Mercer, a 35-year-old widowed father raising his 8-year-old daughter Lily in a small apartment on the edge of the city. Life had not been kind to him. 3 years earlier, his wife had passed away after a sudden illness, leaving him with overwhelming grief and medical debt that consumed nearly everything he owned. Every sunrise began the same way. Elias prepared breakfast, packed Lily's school bag, kissed her forehead with a tired smile, and then rushed between construction jobs, warehouse shifts, and delivery work just to keep food on the table. His clothes were old, his shoes were worn thin, and every dollar was carefully counted before being spent. Yet despite his hardships, he never allowed bitterness to take root in his heart. Lily often asked why he always helped strangers even when Victoria regained consciousness 2 days later inside a hospital room surrounded by security officers, doctors, and executives. They all spoke about medical reports, company updates, and press conferences. Yet Victoria only wanted to know one thing. Who had saved her life? The answer surprised everyone. Nobody knew. The police found no witnesses who could identify him. Security cameras captured only a blurry image of a soaked man walking away while carrying an old backpack. He refused interviews, refused recognition, and disappeared before anyone could thank him. The mystery consumed Victoria's thoughts. For the first time in years, someone had risked everything for her expecting absolutely nothing in return. Meanwhile, Elias returned home that evening soaked from the river, pretending nothing unusual had happened. Lily noticed the cuts on his hands and the bruises on his arms, but he smiled gently and said he had slipped at work. The truth was that he never wanted attention. Helping someone in danger simply felt like the right thing to do. The following morning, he was back lifting heavy boxes at a warehouse while television channels praised an unidentified hero. Nobody standing beside him realized that the quiet worker loading trucks was the same man the entire country was searching for. Weeks passed, and Victoria refused to give up. She launched a nationwide search using private investigators, social media campaigns, and public announcements. Rewards were offered, but no one came forward. Every false lead ended in disappointment. The more she searched, the more she wondered why someone would walk away from wealth, recognition, and endless gratitude. She could not understand that some people measured success differently. One rainy afternoon, fate quietly arranged another meeting. Elias was delivering supplies to a community center where unemployed families received free meals. Victoria had arrived there unexpectedly to inspect one of her company's charity partnerships. As she stepped inside, she noticed a familiar pair of tired eyes helping elderly volunteers stack chairs while laughing with children. Something deep inside her recognized him before her mind could. The soaked hair, the scar near his wrist, the calm expression despite obvious exhaustion. This was the man from the blurry security footage. Instead of surrounding him with security guards or announcing his identity, Victoria simply observed him. She watched him give away the lunch he had packed because another father admitted he had skipped breakfast. She watched him repair a broken bookshelf before leaving quietly through the back entrance. His kindness appeared completely natural, untouched by any desire for praise. That afternoon changed Victoria more than every business success she had ever celebrated. Curious, she asked investigators to learn about Elias without disturbing his life. What she discovered left her speechless. She learned about the late-night shifts, the unpaid hospital bills, the tiny apartment, and most importantly, Lily. She saw school reports describing Lily as bright but often worried about her father's health. She learned that Elias had quietly donated blood dozens of times, volunteered whenever possible, and regularly helped elderly neighbors despite barely surviving himself. Every report painted the picture of a man whose heart had somehow grown stronger with every hardship. Victoria could not forget what she had learned. Instead of offering charity directly, she instructed her human resources department to create a management trainee position requiring practical leadership rather than academic prestige. Anonymous recommendations brought Elias to an interview without revealing Victoria's involvement. Although nervous and wearing his only formal shirt, he answered every question with honesty instead of rehearsed confidence. He spoke about responsibility, teamwork, and caring for people before profits. The interview panel saw something rare that expensive degrees could never guarantee: genuine character. Elias received the job offer, believing it to be nothing more than extraordinary luck. The salary transformed his life overnight. Lily moved into a brighter apartment with a small bedroom she proudly decorated herself. Their refrigerator stayed full for the first time in years. Medical debts slowly disappeared. Yet Elias remained exactly the same man. He still volunteered every weekend, still carried groceries for elderly neighbors, and still thanked every janitor, receptionist, and security guard by name. Employees quickly noticed that the newest manager treated everyone with equal respect regardless of their position. Victoria watched from a distance as Elias naturally inspired people across the company. Productivity improved wherever he worked, not because he demanded perfection but because employees genuinely wanted to do their best around someone who believed in them. His leadership reminded Victoria of values she had nearly forgotten while chasing endless growth. Months later, during the company's annual leadership conference held on a beautiful sunny afternoon, Victoria finally invited Elias into her office. She placed the old security photograph from the bridge on her desk. Elias immediately recognized it and quietly lowered his eyes. There was no fear on his face, only humility. Victoria thanked him with tears she had hidden from the world for years. She admitted that surviving the accident had changed her priorities and that discovering his story had reminded her what real success looked like. Elias answered simply that every human life was worth saving, whether rich or poor, famous or unknown. That conversation marked the beginning of a remarkable partnership. Together they expanded the company's charitable programs, creating scholarships for children raised by single parents, emergency support funds for struggling employees, and volunteer initiatives that reached thousands of families. Victoria contributed resources, while Elias contributed something even more valuable: compassion rooted in lived experience. Their efforts inspired other businesses to invest in communities rather than publicity. As years passed, Lily flourished. She excelled in school, earned scholarships, and often spoke proudly about her father, not because he had become successful, but because he had remained kind through every season of life. Victoria became a trusted mentor in Lily's journey, and together they built something that neither wealth nor hardship alone could create: a family connected not by blood but by gratitude and shared purpose. The story of the anonymous hero eventually became public, but not through headlines chasing drama. Employees shared it quietly, neighbors confirmed it with smiles, and countless lives testified to the impact Elias had made long before anyone knew his name. People realized the greatest heroes are often those who leave before the applause begins. If this story has touched your heart and reminded you that one act of kindness can change countless lives, please take a moment to like this video, share it with your friends and family, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Heart of Kindness so more inspiring stories can reach people who need hope. Special request: please comment below with the words, "Kindness always returns," if you believe that even the smallest act of compassion can create a miracle in someone's life. The bridge where everything began was eventually repaired, and thousands of vehicles crossed it every day without knowing what had happened there years earlier. Yet for Victoria, Elias, and Lily, it remained a silent reminder that destiny sometimes arrives without warning, dressed not in expensive suits or shining armor, but in worn-out work boots and an ordinary heart willing to sacrifice everything for a complete stranger. The world often celebrates power, wealth, and fame, but the greatest legacy anyone can leave behind is the kindness they offer when no one is watching. And somewhere, at this very moment, another ordinary person may be carrying the power to change a life forever, simply by choosing compassion over indifference, courage over fear, and hope over despair.